Coming your way next, we have our Name to Fame segment called Who's Who. This segment is written, directed, and hosted by Mr. Sonny Segal, who is the CIO of Montgomery County, Maryland. Each month, Mr. Segal brings in a world-renowned personality. Who is his chief guest of honor this month? I don't really know. Why don't you and I find out together who is who in Who's Who?
Welcome to the Who's Who Show. This is your host, Sonny Segal. Today, we have a very special guest. He is none other than Mr. Puneet Ahluwalia. Mr. Ahluwalia is an influential lobbyist in the nation's capital. He works with a very powerful consulting group known as the Livingston Group. In addition, Mr. Ahluwalia has taken it upon himself to represent people from all over the world, especially those who are from the Asian and Pacific regions. Mr. Ahluwalia is also the chairman of the board of a highly successful information technology company known as the HummingBird Consulting LLC, and he is currently, in addition, the 10th District Representative on the Virginia Republican State Central Committee, and he was elected to that position in April of 2016. Welcome to the show, Puneet.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me.
Now, Puneet, I wanted to know your role in these capacities. Can you? I mean, there is so much you do.
Which one? You want my business side or my political side?
Yeah, can you touch on all of them a little bit? And of course, I want to know what your role is in representing all of us and representing the state of Virginia. Yeah.
Well, first is I'll take on what's important is the people who are the viewers, and for you and Neelamaji, who always is very kind to get me on the show. First thing is that I represent on the Republican side of the party, which is the Republican Party of Virginia. We are the board of directors, which goes through the process of the election process for candidates. If you're running for a school board all the way to governor or U.S. senator, we decide on the primary or the convention process. That's one. Plus also the state party plan, and then which means that how are the grassroots going to function, how we elect, nominate, go through the process of political process in the Republican Party, what we do. And then the third thing is I feel as a Indian American proud representing my community or the South Asian community, I feel it's important for our community's voices to be heard with the leadership throughout Virginia, and my role at times on a national level. I try to knock on the door of all the leadership to get them to see what's important to our community, be it in the area of social issues, business issues, or personal issues when it's one-on-one.
I see.
And I think you wanted me to touch on my business side. Well, the Livingston Group was started by Speaker-elect Bob Livingston, and Bob was the first person to endorse and support President Trump. And we take on clients nationally, internationally on various issues from defense, technology, you name, even the NGO sector. And I'm looking to work with the government of India and its affiliates in regards to taking on some issues to do transfer of technology, and most importantly, the issues which face U.S. business people in India and the Indian businesses looking to get access to major conglomerates in the United States. That's what I'm working on.
I see. So your work with the Livingston Group affects all of us, regardless of whether we are here in the U.S., we're abroad.
Yes, sir.
It's all about access and being able to frame the conversation for our elected officials at the national level.
You're exactly right. It goes all the way from, I'm not going to specify a company, but a very big company wants to come to the United States. They already have a presence, but they want to ramp up by putting in a few $100 million. They'll create about 1,000 American jobs. At the same time, they want to work with the state where they have the plant to get the incentives, as you know very well, being in the administration yourself, working in Maryland. that you get certain incentives for creating jobs. So we're helping with that, and plus at the same time, for them to succeed in their business for a longer period of time, how we can work both from the federal level, from the state level, all the way down to the county level. So that's the kind of roadmap we are putting it in front of them and for them, and hopefully we're very successful in doing this.
Are your efforts focused on the state of Virginia?
This one is a different state, but I'm working with another firm to create about 200 jobs in Virginia itself.
I see. Very interesting.
And that'll be in the field of veterans and also new graduates, because that's what President Trump's economic agenda is, that how do we create local jobs in rural areas. So I'm very glad, and that's an Indian firm which is looking to create that kind of jobs.
Okay, this is good all around.
Yes, sir.
In one of the events that I attended, where you were a speaker, you emphasized that your mission has to do with outreach, unity, and transparency.
Well, thank you for bringing it up. It's an important issue at this moment, because outreach is important because this is our home, this is our land, and we are Americans. And it's far more important for my community or the South Asian community to come out there and participate and contribute in the mainstream political process, and even the areas which are social issues also that's important to you and to your community and your family. So that's the reason I looked at the outreach as laying the foundation. Come on, folks. Like today morning, we had a roundtable with Governor candidate Ed Gillespie, where we had about 15 successful Indian business people looking to talk to him, say how would he see the role of Indian Americans and how it will impact the Indian American or the minority community or the South Asian community, at the same time why he should become the governor. So these kind of conversations are very important, and that's what I'm doing for Governor to be hopefully Ed Gillespie, and my very close friend Bryce Reeves, who's a senator and running for lieutenant governor, and John Adams, who's running for attorney general. So that's the outreach aspect. Transparency is very important, because folks sitting at home, that the road you drive on, the taxes you pay, the businesses you own, you should have a transparency in the government which is able to say, where are my dollars going? If I want better education for my kids, am I able to achieve that for my kids, and can I pass that to the next generation? And that's how we all Indians think, or the Asians think. So that's the aspect, is more transparency in the Republican leadership and elected leadership.
I see.
And the unity aspect, we are a diverse country. Our fabric is very diverse and melting. And I believe our diversity is our strength. And that's what we have taken from our heritage from India. So what I like to do is to make sure that same values which we brought from India can translate into the American society, which is already great, phenomenal, because you land here, you're an American, but now we want to make it more homogeneous, because that's what we're trying to assimilate and find success in all quarters.
Very well put. I thought these were very striking.
Thank you.
And how you had summarized them, and all in 3 themes, So now you have been actually nominated to a very important advisory committee. Would you please talk about that? And then, I mean, this is the advisory committee to the current president.
Yes, that was during the campaign. I was playing a role, in fact, where I was debating and promoting why we should elect a Republican nominee, which is President Trump now. And I debated with the Democratic opponents, and to show the difference in the ideology of both parties, why and what Republican Party stands for and what the Democratic Party stands for. And I've taken that role a little further, since we have all these things in our mind, since the Kansas shooting and the Kent shooting and other incidents that's happened to Indian Americans and minorities. What I've done is I've told and advised my leadership on incidents that has happened, how to respond, react, but at the same time not overreact, and how not to be divisively, but more constructively pro in participation. And I've also told the leadership, the elected leadership, what is sensitive to my community, the emotions, the concern, the scare, how do we address those issues? And I'm very glad that the president has come out, the governor has come out, and the police who have been very much on top of it, and the good Americans who put their own life in front to save Indian lives have come out. So that's this is changing times. We just have to all, as a community, step forward and make our nation stronger.
Yes, yes. For all the good that we do as immigrants to this country, and now the new Americans, so to speak, even though some of us have been here for decades.
Yes, sir.
We should we should make every effort not to be confused with the elements that people are actually seeking and wanting to eliminate from our society. In other words, we should be represented. We should be represented in the right context, right, and be understood. And I think you, of course, said that sharing values, our values, is what's also part of the message that you take forward to these very powerful people in Congress, in the White House, and so on.
Well, values is very important because our traditional sabhyata, or our heritage in India, has made us, prepared us to assimilate anywhere we go. That's one thing. That's the reason you'll see Indians successful all around the world. But especially in our country, in America, why it's important and why we are successful, now we have to give back. And that's what our culture is giving back and assimilating in the mainstream, and in the process of this country is, at this point, there's a little bit of a concern that we live in big houses, drive nice cars, and have great businesses, but we don't politically participate. And I see the numbers being on the statewide committee, see who's participating, who's not contributing, and doing what needs to be done. That's where we are missing. And that's what I urge the folks is, please, whatever your conscience say, Democrat or Republican, but go out and vote. And if you're a green card holder, become a citizen, because till you're not a citizen, you really don't have a voice.
You also have stated that your goals continue to be to strengthen the Virginia Republican Party, promote free market, and to create opportunities for South Asians and other minorities. And you're actually executing your mission every day.
Yeah, I like that, because I see if my community gets stronger, I get stronger. And then by that, we are able to fulfill certain goals and desire which we have thought for ourselves, our community, and our family. At the same time, making our country strong. When you said about values and combining the innovative mindset of Indian Americans or Asian Americans, is that we create jobs. And at the same time, we don't believe in paying taxes. We should be just let alone to have less red tape, which the democratic mindset puts on us, like increasing taxes and increasing the minimum wage, which will kill jobs, or small to mid-sized jobs, where most of the Indian Americans or Asian Americans are. And that's the reason I always try to promote those values, in fact, Republican values of smaller government, less red tape, and more fiscal astuteness and transparency. And that's what I want my community to take the best advantage of this party.
So what are the opportunities for the region, for the state of Virginia, and in the region, of course, I include other states, under the current administration, under the Republican presidency, the majorities in Congress?
I think the first thing is it's a great opportunity for all the doctors. If you're able to pass the American Care Act, which will create more jobs for the most of the Asian Americans are doctors, so that their practices which were suffering can get back to normal. At the same time, creating the bureaucracy or taking away the bureaucracy is going to help small businesses grow. And then at the same time, also taking on the certain programs which is taking away from Americans or Indian Americans who are citizens, which could take the benefit of the plans which are available in the federal level, all the state level, to take advantage of that. So these are things we can work, and most importantly, we can help to strengthen the US-India relationship, which is so important, not only for that region, which is the Indo-Asia Pacific region, but also for the entire world. So that's the reason why the Indians here can play a role by taking advantage to work with the Republican-controlled houses.
Now, not to be partisan,
please,
but just to explore the role that each of us has, regardless of our affiliation or inclination towards one party or the other. Do you believe that it's important, and do you believe that we're doing enough in a very brief statement to support our elected officials?
I personally see there's a bigger opportunity for our community to participate and activate more. And especially after the incidents, now is the time not to just be a Facebook or a WhatsApp group commenter, but I would request you all to come out and participate and run for offices, run for positions which will have people gravitate towards you, and at the same time be a role model for the youth, because they really need your help and guidance to be able to come and not get strayed in issues.
So get involved,
is my basic thing.
participate however you can. If you can't come out, you can donate, contribute. Well, this has been most interesting.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you for having me.
And I will look forward to having you back on the show again. All the best to you, in your pursuits, and thank you for representing us at the present time. This is your host, Sonny Segal, signing off on the Who is Who show. I hope to see you again next month at the same place and the same time.